What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of the Sports Courier. I have on the line a WWE Hall of Famer, an 11-time world champion, and he is now one of the stars of SyFy's hit show Haven, Adam Edge Copeland. Adam, thanks so much for joining us today, man. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing all right. Now, I've been checking your Twitter, and it seems like every week you're at some different convention, whether it be a Comic-Con, a signing, something Haven-related. Have you been traveling more lately than WWE? It certainly seems like it.
Well, it's still been a lot of travel. My girlfriend always busts my chops saying I'm like the world's most retired guy. It's just that it's a different type of travel now. It's not a different city every day. At least now, if I do something, it's I'm in that city for at least a few days. Whether it's for appearances or anything like that, which makes it a lot easier to deal with. Now generally if I'm filming Haven for 5 months, I'm in the same bed for 5 months. So that makes it a lot easier, when you can adapt to like 2 or 3 beds throughout the year as opposed to like 200 or 300.
And I'm assuming you're not sitting next to people the size of Big Show on planes now. No. It's actually, I'm considered the big person now, and which is always strange for me. Like, oh, dude, you're a big dude. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like average in the old job. So that was one thing to get used to realize that I was, going to be about 50 or 60 pounds heavier than everybody I'm working with now. And do you get recognized more at these conventions for your work on Haven or WWE, or is it a little bit of both?
Well, any convention that I did this year was kind of backed on the wrestling thing. So, I don't really do a whole lot of them. When I did, it was wrestling fans that were coming because it was promoted, Adam Edge Copeland, the WWE Hall of Famer kind of thing. But now, little by little throughout the year, it's really started to filter in. It's like, hey, Dwight. I'm like, oh, wow, they actually don't know about, Edge. And that's pretty cool because, initially when I first started this, I was like, okay, I just don't want to fall flat in my face. And then it became, actually, I want to try and be good at this and not just good for a former wrestler. I actually want to try and get some chops and do this, some form of justice, and not just, oh yeah, he's pretty good for a guy, who used to be a wrestler. I don't want to be judged on that criteria.
Did you have any formal acting training, or did you just kind of transition from pro wrestling to acting and kind of learn on the job?
Initially it was just, learn on the job. It was kind of all fell into my lap, and I fell into their lap. And, it was just kind of figuring out as I went. And there was some similarities. Obviously, it's all performance-based. But, with WWE, it's kind of instant gratification, right away whether something worked or not. So whether to take it down a certain path or take it down a different path. This was a lot, it's repetition. But the luxury of it is that you have a script now. And you can sit down with that script, for a week or, I personally like to sit down with the scenes that I have the next day, the night before, and really just kind of go over them and try different things. I never had that luxury before. It was the way I like to do it, at least, was go out there with maybe 5 or 6 bullet points and, fill 10 or 15 minutes on live TV. So there's similarities, but there's a lot of differences. And this was, I was just kind of learning, flying by the seat of my pants. This year I finally took some classes, and I had some downtime after my neck surgery. So I thought, okay, I got to actually try and put some work into this to try and improve my craft.
How's your body feeling?
Feels pretty good. Feels way better than when I was getting thrown around. You start to realize what your new normal is. When you're doing that job, you're just kind of in a constant state of pain, really, and there's this kind of weird fog that happens when you travel that much, and you don't realize how you don't really carry on conversations with people anymore. You just kind of grunt and get to the next, gate or, the next arena. so being retired from that now, I realize, how beat up I felt. As it kind of gradually wore away, I was like, wow, I'm starting to feel like a human being again. I was, I was beat up, but, I wake up, I have energy now, and can do everything essentially that I used to do besides, the actual wrestling.
Is there anybody either on the cast of Haven or somebody that in the industry that's your go-to guy or girl for acting advice?
I'll take advice from anybody. I'll sit down with whoever I'm doing my scene with and, pick their brains. Everybody's been on Haven's been really, really cool and understanding and kind of knew that I was jumping into this thing, brand new. So, it's been nice in that respect to be able to just kind of go, hey, what do you think about this? Or what decision would you make? Or what process do you kind of go through to get ready for something like this? So it's been really cool that they're willing to do that. And then I've never had a problem asking for advice. I'd rather do that than think I know it all and not know it all. Because when do you ever really know it all?
Of course. And when you were a wrestler, was there ever a thought in the back of your mind thinking, hey, you know what, maybe I should try this acting thing? And of course, you did Bending the Rules for WWE Studios. Was there any point before you started with Haven that you said, you know what, maybe I should try movies after wrestling?
No, it was never a plan. I never even thought in those terms. I was like 100% focused on the job that was in front of me, which was WWE. Yeah, I mean, that was all I ever wanted to do. So, while I was doing it, I wasn't starting to look at other things. I was really focused on that. And for me personally, at least the way I'm wired, I had to be that way. I had to focus entirely on that, or, because it's so draining, if you're not, you're going to quickly get weeded out of the system. Being there for 15 years, that for me was the way I had to do it, because if I started spreading myself any more thin, I would have been gone way before then. I had offers throughout the years, and it didn't appeal to me at the time. I was fully immersed in doing, WWE, but I had to retire. So what do you do? Well, okay, let's see. What is there to do? The Haven role just all kind of fell into place like 2 days after I retired. So it was kind of a nice little bit of serendipity, and it just worked out, but it wasn't anything that I was, working toward. What happened is I enjoyed myself a lot. It was a lot of fun, and it was still a creative process that I was able to kind of dip into and that I realized I needed. So because it was fun, that's kind of why it's continued. It's been a great, it's a great gig if you can get it. It's just like wrestling was.
Do you have a sense of camaraderie with the cast and crew like you did with some of the guys in WWE?
It's a different kind of camaraderie. It's much less political. It's a little bit more of a there's similarities for sure, because you're with these people, in wrestling, you're with them more than you are your family. With this, with acting, it's you're 5 months together, and then suddenly you're not. So there's kind of like a re-entry into normal everyday life after that. Whereas with wrestling, you never had that re-entry. You are always in it. And I think, I don't know, I think with wrestling, it's a lot more political. You fight for TV time, and I'm sure there's aspects of that in TV too, but I think maybe I've been spoiled with the cast and crew that I got out there in Haven. And, I'll go play badminton with Lucas and his daughter and his wife after work. It's just, I think it's easier to develop a friendship in that setting.
Your character, Dwight Hendrickson, is a pretty cool dude. He's also got a facet that the Edge character didn't have, which is a facet of vulnerability. Was it a challenge playing that character? It was actually, because, with
Edge, it was always the vulnerability was as a bad guy, and you're kind of scooting on your butt, and there's a little bit more of that over-the-top, evil kind of curl the mustache type of vibe. Whereas with Dwight, he's a nice guy who wants to take care of those around him, and tragic story of his daughter being killed because she had the same trouble as him. And I mean, you watch it, you go, man, I feel sorry for that guy, and he's still like an upstanding dude, So I think there's with that there was the challenge of, okay, can I pull this off? Because anytime I've done vulnerability in a character before, like I said, it's always very evil, dastardly, over the top type of thing. So I didn't know if I could actually convey real, can you feel for this guy? I don't know. He's 6'4", he's 250 pounds, and he's a former Army Ranger. So thankfully they wrote a character that there's some vulnerability, and I actually I was happy with some of the end results of being able to do it and not have you think, okay, well, that guy's bigger than everybody else, and he's just kind of the big former badass. I'd like to think you look at him and go, man, he's a nice guy. I feel bad for him, and if you can do that, maybe you've done your job. I don't know, but it was a bit of a challenge initially to say, okay, can I do this?
I'm sure it was a challenge. Obviously, at times, maybe I'm sure you must have felt like you were out of your element a bit. When did you finally feel like you were really part of the Haven crew, where you felt like you were kind of right at home and hitting your stride?
Probably the start of my second season, which was the third season, because I wasn't just the new guy coming in and doing 4 episodes. It was like, okay, I did 4 last year. I'm here for more this year. It kind of, I hate that term, organically grew, but it really did. It was kind of it was supposed to be 1 episode that turned into 4 that turned into more. And part of that is because of how comfortable, I felt with everybody, and I guess how comfortable they felt with me. So it, by the second season, I started to feel like, okay, I feel like this is, a new home. And by this season, I coming in with more tools, and then knowing everybody that just, that much more, and knowing my surroundings too, knowing where I was going to be living, and kind of the lay of the land. It all kind of helps with what you got to do at work.
Does it feel weird to walk through doorways and not have pyro and alter bridge blasting in the background?
Well, actually, that's part of my contract. Anywhere I go, including at home, I make my girlfriend, she has to provide pyro and alter bridge at all times. And sometimes the guys will come and play live, even though there's nobody here. Just strictly in the house. As I walk out of the bathroom from my shower, they'll cut right into it. Pyro goes off. It's not quite WrestleMania pyro, but it's still pretty substantial, especially in this neighborhood.
Close enough. And when you're on the red carpet for SyFy, do you ever get inclined to do the 5-second poses, or have you learned to have self-control after all these years?
No, way more self-control. Plus, now I'm usually wearing a suit, and I'm all, short-haired and coiffed, so the 5-second pose with the people that would be taking the pictures, now they go, okay, is this guy having a stroke? Like, what's why is he frozen in that pose? Do you smell toast? No? Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, and another hit show on SyFy is, of course, Friday Night SmackDown, a show you were a staple of for a number of years. I'm sure you get this question asked all the time, but in the event that your ex-wife, Vicky Guerrero, gets fired again, would you be open to returning as the SmackDown general manager?
It would honestly depend on the schedule. I really like not getting on multiple planes. I really don't miss airports. I don't miss hotels. If I could have continued the job and stayed in my bed every night, I could have done it for the 50 more years. But that's one of the great things about acting is generally you're at least in the same place for a little while. So it's that convenience is really nice. To answer the question, probably not. No. I'm kind of my whole idea of it is always, if I can't get in the ring, I don't really want to be there and be that close to it and not do it. If I distance myself, it's for that reason. It's like, well, if I can't be there and do the thing that I actually love about the job, then I don't necessarily want to be around it as a reminder. So I don't know if it could be fun and it could be great stories that could come out of it, then possibly. But right now, just the idea of traveling and everything like that aren't that appealing to me.
Oh, man, I thought Mick Foley was the king of cheap plugs. We actually asked a few viewers if they wanted to submit some questions related to Haven and your life after wrestling. And from Paul Lazenby, Fred, can you ask Adam Copeland about his involvement in my soon-to-be best-selling book, When We Were Bouncers?
Shameless self-promotion. Yes, I lent a couple of stories to Paul for his book. Because there's some ridiculous stuff that we encountered before any of us ever got to WWE. And generally, most of us were bouncers to supplement jumping around in tights on the weekends, So, I had a couple of, pretty stupid stories over the years from bouncing in, various little dirty nightclubs and stuff. So, one involved male strippers. The other involved just this huge barroom brawl with Christian jumping off of poles to crossbody guys and just the complete stupidity.
We have another question here. What do you think WWE fans who haven't sampled Haven yet would like most about the show?
Well, if the WWE fans, probably the fact that, Edge is in it. But I don't know, if you like Stephen King, if you like kind of creepy things, if you like beautiful scenery, it's a good-looking cast. I mean, if you're a woman, there's a bunch of man meat on there, and if you're a dude, there's some pretty girls that are in cool, strong, roles in the show. I really do think this year it's kind of it's a lot more cohesive. It's easier to kind of keep track of, but I still tell people to go back and watch the other seasons to really kind of understand what's going on. Because if you just try and jump in the fourth season, you'll kind of be like, well, as with any show, like, okay, what's going on? Who are these guys? What are they doing? So it's creepy. And it's set in a great setting.
Well, it's great to see that certainly SyFy's gotten behind the show, definitely gotten behind you. There's another guy that has a sci-fi show, Joe Rogan. He questions everything. You've been around some creepy supernatural dudes like The Undertaker, Kane, Gangrel, the Ministry of Darkness. Could we see Adam Copeland making an appearance on that show? I
absolutely love that show. I was really excited when I saw that, and I ran into Joe at a upfront presentation that SyFy did this year, and we ended up talking about MMA. But I've always enjoyed his commentary and his stand-up show. So I thought, okay, I got to give this a shot, and I really, really enjoyed it. I love questioning stuff. So, but as soon as I see Sasquatch or Bigfoot, I'm sold. So I really enjoyed it, though, and I actually learned a lot. I didn't know about chemtrails. A lot of the things, the subjects on there I hadn't actually heard about. So I was like, okay, I've heard about Sasquatches, but I haven't heard about this. So I really enjoyed it. I actually really, really enjoyed that. It's on my DVR, so I have proof.
All right, well, we'll definitely get Joe Rogan to get you on an episode one day. Adam, we thank you so much for the time. Before we go, where can fans find you online and any upcoming events you're involved with?
I am, my docket is clean. I specifically didn't book anything. I wanted to really just relax and, paint and stuff. So that's what I'm doing. I'm mountain biking, I'm painting, and walking dogs.
Sounds like an exciting life, sir. All in a day's work, right?
Yeah. I did all that hard work so that I could do this now.
Fair enough. And folks, you can follow Adam online at Edge Rated R. Of course, you can also check out SyFy.com for more information on Haven. Adam, thanks so much for your time, man. Best of luck and everything.
Thanks. Appreciate it.